Hello, everybody. Welcome here to a professional spotlight session here at the West Virginia Cybersecurity Expo. I am Patrick Smith, and today my guest is Chelsie Cooper. Hi, Chelsie. How are you?
I'm good. How's everyone doing?
Great, fantastic. So I wanted to talk to you today, Chelsie, about your trajectory into IT and advice you would have along the way for people who are thinking about starting their journey as well. So I guess my first question would be, when did you first get into technology? Was it a console? Was it computers? Was it programming? What kind of bit you with the bug?
So technology in general, I got started into it at a very young age. My dad owned a communications business, so he worked on radios, and then he had his ham radios also that he was big into. So like programming those and stuff like that. So that's kind of my intro into technology.
Uh-huh.
From there, when I was in high school, we did have a webmaster team that took care of our school website for the entire district and everything. So then I did that for 4 years. And then that was kind of what set me up for my job opportunity in college. When I first got into Marshall, I started at the rec center doing their website. And then that set me up to go into the IT job with the university as a web developer. So
Wow, there's a lot of, interesting stepping stones. Like you don't, as a single entity, it doesn't necessarily look like a trajectory, but when you put them all together, you see a chart's actually, planned
yeah,
and
yeah. And then so I kind of got set up into technology, just by my dad being in that part of it with the radios, and then the web stuff. I self-taught myself, learned some through our high school. We learned the basics in high school, and then we kind of just like taught ourselves more for teaching or for doing the school website, and then on to the rec center, on to IT. And then my degree that I chose to be in was digital forensics and information assurance. So I had like two not totally different, but two technology fields that really weren't the same thing. And then so I was dabbling in both of them at the same time. But my web background is what got me into the professional field and into a career and everything like that. And then so I spent 2 years. So I did that for all 4 of my years in undergrad. And then my 2 first professional years I spent in IT doing web development for them. And then I bounced back into my digital forensics and information assurance degree and spent the last year working for the program, actually at the university, as kind of like a program assistant coordinator, all of the above for them, recruiting students, helping them and everything with that. And then now I'm actually using my degree and I'm working for the state as an intelligence analyst. So
fantastic. Well, I mean, I know we had a keynote with Danielle Cox, and so when I had gone to LinkedIn and I've been editing the keynotes and stuff, I was like, I wonder if working for the state's a big place, but I thought, I wonder if Chelsea's under basically the same roof as Danielle.
Yes, I am in, I think a different, there's so many, I'm still learning. This is my 4th week at this job. So I'm still learning all the different divisions and departments within the state, but it's very huge. I am on the intelligence center side of it. And everything like that. So
that's cool. Well, I know you said that web design seemed to be kind of far flung from, at least from digital forensics and information assurance. That I understand. But on the cybersecurity front, one big area that I keep on hearing about that for me is a blind spot is secure coding. And I would think that would be in your wheelhouse. Having both sides of those would be very, very helpful.
Yes. As far as the cybersecurity side of it, the digital forensics, well, even on the digital forensic side, it does help me out, having my background in it. But especially on the cybersecurity side, having a background in the knowledge in web programming, it definitely has set me up for automatically. I don't have to research things as much, especially I'm not sure how much you're familiar with it, but the open source intelligence side of things. Within cybersecurity, that me having the knowledge that I do of websites and everything has really helped me and set me up for that side of the house. So that, and then especially with my knowledge in web and everything now, in the job that I'm in now, that has helped tremendously having that knowledge. So it was like all little like stepping stones. Like it didn't all make sense at one time, but then now it makes total sense of how I kind of went on that path.
But I think that's how it works for a lot of people. They are so micro view, they can't see where they are in the journey. They don't have the ability to go really, really high and see the macro view and see the bigger picture. You're painting by numbers, and you really don't know what it's going to look like until you fill the pieces in, and it all matters. Yeah, so that's great.
Absolutely.
So, based on your trajectory I know you even taught here for us at Mount West. I know that Kim Priest had told me that you had met her originally when she was doing stuff with Girls That Code, who came in. And I know that I think last year you did a session with Dr. Shariar's daughter, I believe, on women in IT as well. So I was very happy and felt very fortunate to have had both our keynote be female, and then another former student that went through Dr. Salmon's digital forensics program, Deanna Cheatham Ebling now. So I love the focus of trying to get women to see that, like, this is a fantastic field. Do not feel shy about coming in here. It is fantastic. Unfortunately, I'm lucky if I have 2 to 3 females a year. It's usually more along the lines of 1, but we're definitely always trying to go ahead and recruit people. So would there be any message you would have to women who are thinking about getting in the field about advice or what you would say to them?
Absolutely. I mean, let's see, when I went through our undergrad program, we have more females in our undergrad program now than when I went through it. But I mean, it's very intimidating. I mean, you're sitting in a classroom or in a professional setting with a whole room of females, and you may have one other female with you. Or you may not. You may be the only one. There were certain classes that I would sit in and I would be the only female. Or I would sit in a class and I would be one, or maybe if I was lucky, there would be 2 other females in there. So, I mean, it can be very, very intimidating, but don't let the intimidation factor get to you. I mean, if you're interested in it and you have enough interest and you have enough drive to keep you going, then the intimidation factor is just going to fade. And we had no female professors. I mean, we had all male professors. But I mean, it wasn't like, as long as you have an environment that makes you feel safe and makes you feel like you're not divided, like, oh my gosh, just because you are the one female in there, then you're going to excel. And that's how our females have excelled, is because we've never felt that before. Like, yeah, we came in intimidated, but we were in an environment that made us feel comfortable and everything and made us feel welcome. So that just set us up for success. But I mean, I have also worked in environments where females are not as encouraged, and they are kind of looked. I have worked in those situations where they are looked down upon because they are a female. And there's this common line that they think that they have less knowledge, maybe, or something, or they have more emotions to their knowledge or something along those lines. And that's just not the case. So if you do get into an environment like that, like I did for a very brief time, I mean, you just have to power through it. It's just a matter of sticking to what you know, what you learned, what you've been through, and just standing up for that and being like, this is what I know, and this is why I know it. And that's what I mean. The intimidation factor is just not letting it get to you, even if you are in that environment. And if you are in that environment, try to do something about it. If you have the voice to do something about it, then do something about it. If you would rather not, then look up to someone that has the higher up, and see if they can do something about it. But yeah, just do not let the intimidation get to you, because that is what I have seen from working for the my program, and like working with Girls Who Code and some other organizations that I've been involved in, is females tend to let that intimidation factor get to them. And it's just a matter of growing some skin on your shoulders and not letting it get to you. And I think it's starting to be better. I mean, there's more females and everything out there, so you are starting to be in more comfortable environments, but it's just a matter of not letting it get to you.
Well, I always found it interesting when I was a student coming through Marshall Community Town College. I had professors like Rhonda Scragg and Kim Priest. I took their classes. I had their classes, and I had the majority of my professors were female. Yeah. Ann Todd, Rhonda Scragg, Kim Priest. I then later had classes to I took classes to Jack Loker and Scott Nicholas, but we had a really strong contingency of female professors in IT. Mm-hmm. And so I never thought a lot of it. I mean, I was still, as a male, I was still intimidated when I came to class because I thought I'm going to say the wrong thing, looks stupid. Mm-hmm. And these days, I'll just tell people out there, here at the community college, a lot of times the makeup of our classes end up being about 50% traditional versus non-traditional. And those students come to me also scared to be like, I feel like I'm in class with my son or my daughter. So I might say out there, whether it shows or not, I feel like everybody has that imposter syndrome and that intimidation factor when they come in. You may think like they're all looking at you, but I also bet to some degree they may also think everyone's looking at them as well. So we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, it's a wonderful career. I know all the females I've had that have gone through. I know you were talking about kind of you had to fight through potential adversity. They were stellar students. I don't know if they were worried that somebody was going to, say something or whatever, but they were fantastic, and they've all gone to absolute great things. So I would actually encourage anybody who's considering going into the field, do it. It has been done. I have seen it done through my classes. Chelsie is an example. There's nothing to stop you except your own motivation to say, I want to do this, and that's the job I love and I want to do, and just totally go for it.
And that's what, on the same route of it, I mean, a little background about me. I came from a very rural, my town is so small, it's considered a village in Ohio. So, I mean, it's very rural. There's no cell service. Internet was, when we finally could get it by satellite, was a thing, but I mean, still not high speed. I didn't even know what Netflix was until I moved to college. Like, I mean, very rural, in the sticks, lived on a farm, whole 9 yards. So I came from that background, and then, came into something that is, my entire world is technology because of the career I picked. And the funny thing is I watched a movie. It's called Untraceable, and it was yes, female cybercrimes FBI agent. And I literally watched that movie, and I was like, I want to be that girl. Like, how can I be that girl? And then I just started researching it, and then I found Marshall's program, and then here I am. And I just never let my drive let me be intimidated by the fact that I was in a field that's male dominant. So as long as you keep that up, like I was saying, you can power through it. You just have to have that, don't let that get to you in those situations and everything. You have the training, you are just as smart as anyone else out there.
Well, you picked a pretty good movie too. I know I think it's Diane Lane is the protagonist, but also when it comes to technology, that movie causes me to make less eye rolls than some other movies like Hackers or the Kevin Mitnick movie they made at Miramax. Like Untraceable is pretty darn good in what they're talking about technology wise. So so that's fantastic. I thought I grew up rural out Wayne when we finally got a traffic light in Lavalette in '99. But I guess, if we're throwing down cards of how rural it is, it sounds like you may have actually beat me, Chelsie.
Yeah, it's like a population like 90. We have no stop lights. We only have 2 stop signs, maybe 3. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we didn't get a McDonald's till '99, and then people thought we were really, really in the money when we got a Walmart, back in 2000, 2001-ish.
Yeah, we have to travel to Portsmouth to get anything that is groceries, like anything like that. I think they've maybe put a couple Family Dollars in towards that way now, but like no, you needed groceries, you needed medicines, you needed anything like that. 30, 45 minutes away.
Wow. Well, I mean, I feel like there are nuggets people can pick up through your story all throughout. I mean, about the fact that you were furthest from technology of anybody, and look, here you are.
Mm-hmm.
And also, your path in might have seemed not quite aligned, but the bigger picture is it all paid off. I tell my students a lot of times that, don't pass by any opportunity. You may say, well, this is not what I want to get into. You don't know when you're going to be sitting in that interview chair with somebody and they say, hey, do you have experience on X, Y, and Z? And you say, you know what? One summer I was able to intern and do X, Y, and Z. And they're like, fantastic. You're the person we want.
Yes.
But I was going to say in general, based on all those points we've been hitting, is there any last minute advice you would give anybody who's considering getting into the digital forensics or cybersecurity field or even IT field?
I mean, with any of those fields, do your research. I mean, that's the best way. Do your research and make connections. Making connections, I know that sounds like there's a lot of gray areas that people see with that, but I mean, making your connections, doing your research, and having drive is what's going to get you the furthest. Because a lot of the opportunities I have came across and how diverse my background is and everything is because of my connections I made. Just like the connection I made with Kim. She came and brought the students to IT. I talked to the students at IT because someone in our leadership was like, hey, Chelsie, you should go talk to these girls and everything like that. Talked with Kim. Love her, by the way. She's a rock star. Talked to Kim, and then Kim was like, hey, why don't you come teach for me? And then that just brought up like a whole other thing that I didn't even think about, teaching. She's the one that got me into teaching because I didn't even think anything about it. And then that got me into teaching as an adjunct for Marshall and their program and everything like that. Like, it just never pass up an opportunity. Even if it seems left field of where you think you're going, never pass up an opportunity. Take it, run with it, do whatever you can with it, and then I promise eventually that little bit of knowledge or whatever you've learned at that opportunity will put you further. And it's something to add to your resume. I mean, the more you have in your resume, I found that out too. Like, my resume is not straightforward. I mean, it's not driven just because of my background in digital forensics and information assurance. My background has teaching. My background has, web development, everything. I mean, there's all kinds of things. I was a safety instructor, like all kinds of things, which just added benefit of communication skills that I have and everything like that. It just set me apart from everyone else. So
that's true. Yeah, you are the sum of all your parts. And I think the networking side is fantastic to bring up. It's one of the reasons why, we're here at the 5th annual Game Expo, and I've now started to add in cybersecurity because when we are in a non-COVID world, I want us to be able to get together. I want people to be able to talk to the speakers, email the speakers, learn more, network, because you never know when it's that one person. For me, it was Rhonda Scragg who called me after I graduated from Mount West and said, hey, you want to teach? You seem to do a little stuff in Scott's classes. And that was 2003. And then I was hired on full time in 2008. And, here I am 12, almost 13 years later, teaching full time, doing the stuff I love, watching students go out there and succeed and graduate, and now doing this conference and this expo, bringing together like-minded people to try to build the careers of people and let them see all the opportunities we have here in West Virginia. So
absolutely. That's what I did mine a little backwards because I got into teaching so early and everything like that. But I don't those opportunities helped me progress into where I am now. And the fact that I went into teaching and I have those skills from teaching makes me, in my job now, makes me even more like well-rounded and everything, coming in from a background of academia. So
Yeah, I would say as a security professional, for people who are like, what are they trying to say the correlation is?
yeah,
You are going to have to be training end users how to work securely. So
yeah,
anytime you can show that you can break down a complex problem into easy to understand technologies that non-techies can understand, that's
yeah.
invaluable.
Yes. And my director, he says that all the time. He's like, yeah, he's like, I learn something new every day. And he's like, and he comes to me sometimes and he's like, hey, can you break this down for me into terms I can understand? And I do it so quick because I've taken terms, because my class that I teach at Marshall is typically freshmen, sophomores. And I'm taking those big old terms and I'm breaking it down into terms that they're going to understand, but then they'll eventually learn so they are on that technical level.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I agree. It's always great to be able to come up with analogies or mnemonic devices or some way to get people to understand. Well,
Yeah.
Chelsie, thank you so much for doing a professional spotlight with us. I think your story is fantastic, and I think it will help people out there who maybe are struggling to take that first step, or people who are in the middle of it. And once again, they can't see the full picture because they're in the middle of it. Get some confidence to know all the pieces are going to matter. It will fit together. You will be on the right path. You just don't know it just yet. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
Oh, no problem. Anytime.
Thanks.
All right. Have a good one.